So here we are going to perform the custom content image practical. So before we actually start with the demonstration of acquiring a custom content image, we are going to do a little bit of administration first. That is, little bit of theory. Yes, my friend, let's have some theory. First of all, you will remember that from the previous module, we spoke about the layout of the FTK imager, and in the bottom left hand pane, we have the combination pane, which is hidden somewhere in between the properties pane next to the hex value, right? Now it's time to disturb that combination pane and do this demonstration, because this demonstration is completely dependent on that particular pane. Okay, so it will allow to make look at the properties, hex value and custom content. Because we are dealing with custom content sources, this will be the area where we will be working now. Just to make things easier for us, I'm going to left select the custom content sources. I'm going to drag this into a pane and then dock it so that we can then work within our custom content sources environment. A lot more easy and clearer to do. These are what we call dockable panes in the FTK image. So we can arrange the panes wherever we want. We can move from here to there, there to here. Okay. Now in a previous class, we took a live capture of the whole of the physical disk. That is when we was doing the FTK imager, we were capturing the FTK imager of the suspect machine, right? Where we collected the imaging of the suspect machine. That is disk 0, which would have taken the system partition and a recovery partition alongside the local disk C. Yes, the local disk C, that is the working partition of the suspect's machine. And that is because we wanted a bit by bit copy. That's why we collected that image, right? Now that would have taken some time and of course disk space to take that image. For this example, we are only going to be interested in potentially the documents which are available on the suspect's machine under a specific account. Okay. And those are going to be held, of course, under the logical partition or the logical drive on the C drive of the suspect machine. So for this example, that is going to be one of the filters that I'm going to target for my custom content. Now that I have ascertained this, here we will apply the custom content images by documents and by user SID, that is security identifier, which we learned in the previous module. Okay. So the first step is to add an evidence item, which I have two options for. Under the file menu, I can simply add all the attached devices. Now if I take this option, it will add all physical drives and also the logical drives which are known to this machine. So that may be useful if I was doing a filter across multiple devices or multiple drives. However, for this example, I am simply going to add an evidence item, as I have already ascertained the location of where my potential evidence is. So simply selecting add evidence item then brings me into the select source panel. This is a familiar pane to us, right? As you can see, that gives me the options of physical drive, logical drive, image file, and I'll be using this in the lab, for example, or if I wanted a quick triage, it would also be for the contents of a folder. We already know about this in detail. We have already discussed this, right? If I were to select physical drive at this point, it would then list the attached physical device for me, and I would then be able to select from the top down menu which one I am particularly interested in. So if you are taking this option, once again make sure that you take great care and caution in selecting the correct physical drive. Okay. So for this example, I'm not going to take that option as I'm only interested in the C drive. So I'm going to use the back button and come back into the logical drive. Doing this then gives me the drop down menu of each logical drive known to this Windows device. I can see the logical drives correctly attached or known to this machine, and so we have the C drive. That is the drive that I am interested in. So that is the one that I am going to select. It now adds the logical drive to the evidence tree. And if I simply open up the C drive, and in the hierarchical folder structure, you can see where your information is likely to be stored. For those of you that are familiar with the folder structure of a Windows machine, you will then start to recognize some of the areas of interest potentially from your suspect's device. In this example, you are going to be interested in potential documents which are held under the user folder within this drive. And so here I can then see that I have got a specific user in as administrator. The administrator is my target. Yes, he is my suspect. I don't know whether it is he or she, but that is the administrator is my suspect. Is my target of interest for this particular demonstration. So if I open the administrator folders up, I would then be able to see all of the personal folders which are known to the administrator. However, as I do not fully understand where administrator may be storing the particular items I am interested in, I'm going to simply select the top level folder here, which is under the username administrator. You can see now that I also have a file list which has been represented to me quite nicely in FTK Imager, right? FTK is helping so much in understanding the files which is available in the suspect machine. Thank you, FTK. So to add this to the custom content sources, I simply right click to select the folder that is required and then select add to custom content image. And this is going to create an AD1 file once I complete it. So this AD1 files are nothing but they are logical images similar to a container. So they are used to hold file level acquisition. However, they are not very common since it is a proprietary format, so we can call them as access data format also. Okay, so that is nothing but the AD1 file. Okay, now that I have done this, you can see that this has now been populated in the custom content sources. And remember that we put this into this location just to make it easier for us to reference it and to see it. I can then select this and then edit the content and put in a variety of filters if I was interested in. So you can see in the wildcarding options, which is just pop up in front of the screen. Remember that we had discussed in the previous class of custom content image by file type. You use them by using a series of filters which can be used quite extensively by using either the wildcard, where FTK Imager allow the use of wildcards to filter and find specific files stored on the file system. Now it's time to use that. So in the wildcarding options, you can see that we have the ignoring case, include subdirectories, and match all occurrences. Within here, I would then be able to complete the script by potentially putting in the file extensions that I have interested in. So for this example, I'm going to simply strip out any PNG images which are underneath the folder of the administrator. I hope you guys have remembered the custom content image by file type. Under that, the wildcard syntax, where we have learned about the most commonly used wildcard characters in FTK imager and how to use them. Now it's time to recall those characters and use it here. Hence, for this demonstration, I am going to use the asterisk. Yes, you are right, the star symbol, which replaces any series of characters in a file name and extension. Where we consider the example of star.txt will match all files with a .txt extension, right? So for this example, if you want to search for all image files with either a .jpg or .png extension, you can use the search pattern .jpg.png. Now we are going to use .png. This has now placed it nicely into the list of filters for my custom content sources. You can see from the menu pane that I can also then create new filters and indeed edit existing ones, or of course remove them. Once I'm happy that I've completed all of the custom content sources filters, I can then go ahead and create the image. I'm doing so the create image wizard pop-ups, and as with the creation of a full drive image, I now need to give the image destination. I'm going to go ahead and add the location and very quickly put in some evidence item information. So for this one, I will call as CI1, that is custom image 1, for example. Okay, but of course I would then fill in the evidence number, unique description, and the examiner name and nodes in accordance with my local standards. The destination folder in this particular example is going to be back over onto my one-touch hard disk. And so I will now select my hard disk, that is E drive, from the location. Under the hard disk investigation, I will create a folder as custom image. Under that, again a subfolder, that is CI PNG, means custom image PNG. Once I have selected this, I can then OK add that, and it now becomes, as you can see, the image destination. I now need to give this a file name, which I will call as admin PNG. And again, you can see that what we have seen when we was capturing the image of the suspect machine, the same thing is here. That we created a full drive image that I can select the fragment size, compression rate, and whether I want to use encryption or not, the same thing. However, also included in this image creation, I have the ability to filter by file owner. I hope you guys remembered this filter by file owner, which we learned in the previous module, that is under the custom content image by user SID, by user security identifier. Now it's time to have a demonstration on that. For this demonstration, I am going to include the checkbox and I'm going to finish this. You can now see that I have the ability to choose the file owner which are known to this particular device. And at the top, I can see the two specific owners by name and security identifier of Dolly and administrator. Here Dolly is preferred as administrator. Yes, Dolly is my suspect. Okay, now I got the name for my administrator as Dolly. Okay, if I select administrator from the list, it will then only filter to those files which are owned by the user, my suspect Dolly. Once I'm happy that all my filters are in place, I can then also look at the options of verification, pre-calculating progress statistics, and create directory listings. Everywhere it will come. And I can then check mark this in accordance with my standards. Once I'm happy that all of this is in place, I can just simply start the acquisition process. Let's start. Because I have used very few filters in this example, this will not take very little image to actually create the custom content image, and no need to pause the class, pause the video and having cup of tea. Now I guess that is not required. Why? Because it will not take much time as earlier. And you can see that in no time at all it has now produced my hash. I can then verify this by closing this down and taking a look at the content of the image itself. So if I close down my image, I can take a look at the image summary, and here I can see the image verification results and of course other details about when this image was captured. If I come back over onto my hard disk, so using File Explorer to do this, I can indeed see the AD1 file which has been captured with admin PNG. I can also see the verification file under the text document and also the spreadsheet which has been created, which allow me to then view which image have been taken from suspect machine. I now have a very small image which contain all of the PNG images owned by my dolly, my suspect, or administrator under the administrator local folder. Of course, this would be a bigger file if I was to use multiple filters and did this across multiple drives. I now have my custom image for PNG. So this is how we will take the custom content images. So we have seen in the previous class that how we can use the wildcard syntax, where we have come across the asterisk, question mark, vertical bar, etc, etc. Now by using the asterisk, the star symbol, we discussed that the txt, right? Now we have taken the custom content image for the PNG file. Now similarly, let's try for .jpg also. Okay, so we'll have to follow the same procedure what we have followed till now for the PNG files. Now let me do the same procedure for the JPG files. As you saw, the wildcarding options of ignoring case, include subdirectories and match all occurrences. Let me change the file extension from PNG to JPG. Okay, just replace PNG with JPG. So for this example, I am going to simply strip out any JPG images which are underneath in the folder of the administrator dolly. I'm doing so. Again, the create image wizard pops up. I'm going to go ahead and add the location and very quickly put in some evidence item information. So this one I will call CI2, that is custom image 2. Before we had CI1, custom image 1, now CI2. The destination folder in this particular example is going to be same as previous, that is my one touch hard disk. And so I will now select my hard disk E drive from the location. Under the hard disk, the investigation folder, I have pre-created that. Under that, the custom image, and then subfolder we have as CI PNG. Now let me create CI JPG. Once I have selected this, I can then OK that, and it now becomes, as you can see, the image destination. I now need to give this a file name, which I will call admin JPG. Before we gave us admin PNG. Let me check the filter by file owner checkbox. Okay. Here let me select dolly as preferred as administrator. I have to select dolly. Now it will start the process. And you can see that in no time at all, it has now produced my hash. I can then verify this by closing this down and taking a look at the contents of the image itself. And here I can see the image verification results and of course other details about when this image was captured. If I come back over onto my hard disk, so using File Explorer, I can indicate that the AD1 file which has been captured with admin JPG, along with text document and spreadsheet. I now have my custom image for JPG also. And coming up in the next module, we are going to take a look at how we can view the PNG and JPG images using the AD1 file that we have collected from this demonstration. I will then start to take a look at the pictures that we have acquired from Dolly machine. So that's it for now. Thank you.